This video is how to train a dog to stay back while you train another dog. The dogs I'm going to be demonstrating on are Holly and Biddy. Holly is the Border Collie and Biddy is the small Border Terrier. Biddy hasn't done this exercise before, so I thought I'd demonstrate on her so as you can see a dog that hasn't previously been trained this. The first thing you'll need are some tasty treats. Here are some small pieces of cheese that I've cut up, and Biddy hasn't been fed in the last 3 to 4 hours. To begin training, you should designate an area for your dog to go to while you train your other dog. I'm using the sofa, but you could equally train them to go to a mat. There are many good tutorials on this on YouTube. You also want to ask them to get off of their spot and click and treat that so as they're being released from their position. Now you want to introduce the dog that you're going to train. Don't use the clicker at this stage as you don't want to introduce it too soon and confuse matters. Have a treat in your hand and touch the dog that you're going to train. Immediately feed the treat to the waiting dog, but don't speak to them or reward them with any kind of praise. You're trying to reinforce the dog for being ignored, so all the time that you feed them treats, you should ignore them. You can see on the video that I'm increasing my enthusiasm with the dog that I'm going to train, and I'm also starting to feed them a treat. You should feed both dogs a treat simultaneously to start with, and then feed the dog that you're training a treat slightly before you feed the waiting dog. If the waiting dog is food aggressive, then you're going to have to do lots of work on this before you start training them to stay back whilst you're training the other dog. Here you can see I feed Biddy a treat as I stand up. This is because I've changed the situation and I don't want Biddy to see this as a cue to jump off of the sofa and start joining in. And now I'm starting to get Holly moving about. This excites Biddy, so obviously I want to reward her if she has the patience to stay on the sofa. What you're going to get a lot of at first is your waiting dog jumping off of their spot to come and join in the fun. Don't worry about this at all, this is perfectly normal. Ask them to go back to their spot. Don't reward them the moment that they go back onto their spot. You want to reward them for waiting on their spot. You don't want to reward them for jumping off of their spot and then returning to it. Some people like to use a clicker with a different tone for their different dogs so as the dog can associate their click with a treat. However, I don't think this is necessary. My dogs all understand that when I'm training them, I have eye contact with them or I'm asking them to do things, then the treats and clicks are for them, and the dogs that are waiting understand that the clicks are nothing to do with them until they are called up for training. It's not been my experience that this devalues the click to the dog that's waiting. I always train with all my dogs in the same room as I find this easier. Now it's simply a case of building up and up, doing more and more with the dog that you're training before you reward the dog that's waiting. Here you can see me rewarding Biddy as Holly's actually going round in a circle. That's because it's exciting to her when Holly moves, so this gives her an incentive to stay up on the sofa. If you prefer to shut your other dogs out while you're training a dog, then I suggest that you leave them with something tasty, such as a pig's ear to chew, so as they're occupied and rewarded for being left on their own. In case you're wondering, Biddy is my neighbour's dog and she's staying with me for a little while, so you can expect to see her in a couple more videos. Thank you for watching.